Hi, all of you. Is my sound is audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday, if you remember, we created a deployment, okay, and that deployment created a replica set in the pod. And if anything is wrong going to happen with your pod or something, right? Like if this pod is going to be deleted or something, so what will happen? A new pod is going to come back as soon as possible, okay? As soon as this website is going to come back, so we don't have to worry about if somebody want to access the website that is running inside this particular container, okay? So you have to simply go to a new command prompt, and here just you have to type the command called minikube. And before that, let me just find the service name. So for that, you know the command kubectl get sbc. So this was the service that we created yesterday, my deploy. So if somebody is going to say that minikube, there is a service with the name called my deploy. So minikube will open that particular service. They will create a proxy, they will launch it, and this type of the website will be visible. And currently our container is running with the IP called 0.22. That's why in this website also it is printing 0.22 like that. Okay. So this was the thing that we done yesterday. So if you will want to see the entire things again, okay. So what I am going to do is uh, let this close, okay, and clear it. So first we created a deployment, right? Deployment was the one who created the pod and the replica set. So as soon as I'm going to delete this, kubectl delete deployment, and deployment name is my deploy. Then what will happen? Deployment will also deleted, pod will also be deleted, replica set will be also be deleted. Okay. And since I deleted the deployment, now I will go in the workload, nothing is there. Pod also got deleted, right? Replica set is also got deleted. Services will be still be there, my deploy, right? But this service is there, but this service is not currently transferring your traffic to any of the pod because pod is not there. Okay, because we created the service separately. So if you want to delete the service also, so again you'll be writing the same command kubectl. I want to delete the service. Service name is my deploy. That's it. Service is going to be deleted, and now that is also gone. Now to create this entire thing again, what we have to do, we have to remember our image name. Our image name was web server cloud 27. So again we'll start, we'll say that kubectl, you are going to create a deployment, and deployment name, let's give it as mighty, and image, take it this one, partition 8 slash web server cloud 27. So as soon as I will press enter, they will create a deployment. This deployment is going to create a replica set, they will create a pod, right? And see, all the three things is ready. Okay, even if I'll go in the pod, so a pod is just started 10 seconds ago. Replica set also got created, who is maintaining the number of pod. Everything is well and good. Now I want to host the website, right? See this particular website like this way. Currently this link is not going to work, so I want to see that website like that way. So in that case, you have to simply say that kubectl. The one thing you have to expose the deployment. Deployment name is MyD that we just created, and website is running on the port 80 that you have to expose. And how you are going to expose it? Using a service type called node port, where n will be the capital and p will be the capital. As soon as I will press enter, a service will be created with the name called MyD. You can verify using the command called kubectl get svc. The service with the name called MyD got created, and in which they are saying if somebody will come to the 32741 port, we are transferring your traffic to the port 80, and that we can verify it from here also. A service got created. And since this service is created, so now if somebody will say that minikube, there is a service with the name called MyD, so can you open it? So if you press enter, automatically they are forwarding the traffic there, and we are able to see this, and our container IP is 0.23. That's why we are able to see this like that way. So this is the thing that we done yesterday. Okay. Now the thing is currently only one pod is running, right? Currently only one pod is running. So every time whenever you will refresh this page, you are connecting to the same website, that is 0.23 only. Why? Because only one pod is running, or only one machine is handling the entire traffic of this particular website, right? Now, if more people started to come, right? So I want that multiple number of pods. Okay, so few people will be connected to this pod, other people will be connected to some other pod like that way. Like in the EC2 instances also, we done using the load balancer concept, right? So whatever the services you are seeing inside the Kubernetes, this is also just like a load balancer only. Okay, everybody is going to come to this particular location, and from there they are transferring the traffic to the pod. Currently only one pod is running, so that's why they are transferring the traffic to only one pod. If you want to increase the number of pod, so definitely this pod is going to be managed by the deployment, right? So you have to increase the number at the deployment level only. If you want to do it from the browser side, you can do here. You can click on this scale button. You can write the desired replicas as 3, 5, 10, and 10 pods will be running. Okay. And exactly same thing if you want to do with the command. So they are saying you have to write the command like this, then it will be done. So let's write using the command. Because from here it is simple. Simply you have to do the scale and you have to change the number and click on a scale. Scaling will be done. But let's do it from here. So I'm opening one more command prompt. And see this URL currently just transferring 0.23 only. I'm not changing this URL or something. Okay. That's why I kept this page also running. I kept this page dashboard also running. I came into a new command prompt. And here I am saying that kubectl, you have to scale the deployment because you are going to scale the deployment. You don't have any control directly on the pod, right? So you'll always be going to scaling the deployment. So kubectl, you have to scale the deployment. Deployment name is mighty. Okay. And the number of replicas I want is equal to 3. Okay. My goal is that total 3 number of pod will be running. I'll press enter and our scaling is done. Okay. So now if I'll say that kubectl, can you tell me the details of get deploy, like how the deployment is running currently? So they will say you asked me for three pods are running. To verify whether 3 pods got started or not, I can say kubectl get pods. You see total 3 pods are running. 2 pod got started 20 seconds ago. From here also you can verify 3 pods are running, right? The benefit is now the 3 pods are running. Okay, so whenever somebody will connect to this particular service, right, 32741 port like that, they will try to come in. So previously they were transferring the traffic only to the 23 IP address, right? But now they can transfer the traffic to this IP address, 23 also, 24 also, 25 also, because these 3 pods are running. One is running on 23, one is running on 24, one is running on 25. So now if we'll try to refresh this page, currently you are seeing 0.23 only. Now see, we started to see 0.24 also, right? If somebody will try to refresh it, currently it is again going to be 0.24, but let me just copy this and open it in a different browser in a private window. And if I'll try to hit it, maybe it will be connected to some different. See, again it connected to 0.23. That means some people will be connected to 0.23, some people will be connected to 0.24, some people will be connected to 0.25. And now see, currently this customer is connected to 0.25, right? If I am refreshing, we are connected to 0.25. What will happen if somebody is coming here and they are deleting 0.25 machine? Okay, so take an example. This is the machine which is running, I think, on 0.25. Okay, so what will happen if I delete this particular pod? Because this is the pod that is running on 2.25, right? So as soon as I will delete this pod, a new pod is going to be created, right? A new pod is going to be created. See, this is creating. Currently, they will transfer to 23 and 24 only. But as soon as this pod become running, now they will transfer to 26. So now if somebody will refresh, either they are going to see 23, 24 or 26. 25 will be not visible. See, 23 is coming. If I'll come from this particular browser, here we are seeing previously 25. Now I'll refresh. So it's connecting to 24. So now it can either see 23, 24 or 26. So that means whatever the pod is running, they will always transfer the traffic to that particular pod only. So as a customer perspective, customer is never going to know that your pod is getting deleted, your pod is getting started, because customer will always be able to see the website no matter what is happening in the backend. Make sense? So this was the thing that we done yesterday. So is it clear up to here, all of you? Now, see, in the AWS, if you remember, usually how much time it was taking to increase the number of EC2 instances? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minute times, right? But here, if you'll see that currently how many pods are running? 3 pods. Now, if somebody is saying that, okay, 3 pods is not able to handle the traffic, maybe millions of people have started to come, right? So in that case, you'll require 10 pods. Okay. So in that case, you don't have to do anything. You'll be simply writing here kubectl. Do one thing. Can you scale the deployment? And deployment name is myd. And if the replicas total number is equal to 10. As soon as I will press enter, see how fast they are going to work. Currently 3 is there. Okay. Now see, total 10 become. See, these all are in the orange color. As soon as it will become running, everything will be activated. In less than 10 to 15 seconds, everything will be running. See, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are green now. 4 are remaining. See, 9 are done. 2 more are remaining basically. So they will make sure that everything is done. Now see, 10 by 10 is okay. And then once the 10 by 10 will be okay, then in the deployment only they will say 10 by 10 is okay. Okay. Like let me show you here one more time. I am making it to 15. Okay. So now see, currently it was 10 by 10, right? Now it will be 10 by 15 here. Okay. And then it will be keep increasing 11, 12, 13, 14. Like see, now 10 by 15 is there. As soon as the new pod is going to be running, they will be keep increasing here 11, 12. See, now 12 is ready. Then 13, 14, 15. Once 15 by 15 will be ready, everything will be green. Okay. And this will be also green. Currently it is in the pending state because one is not. Now see, it's become running. Now you'll see total 15 pods are running. Okay. And in this service, if I'll go to the MID, they will be showing us 15 IP address. Okay. That at any point of time, somebody is going to refresh this, they will connect. See, now we are connecting to 0.37. And see, actually 0.37 is in the list. That means we are connecting to this particular uh, pod currently. Okay. Again, if somebody will refresh this, maybe they will be connected to some other. Now see, we connected to 0.30 and say 0.30 is in the list. That's why we are connecting here. So that's the thing happening. Now I don't want this many pods should be running or something. Then you can reduce the number also. You can just say that I want the number to be 5 only. Okay. So 5. Now see, currently it is 15 by 15, right? Now it will be 5, right? So all the extra is going to be terminated. Currently 12 is running. So they will try to stop. Now see, only 5 by 5 is running. And see, all extra got terminated. And even in the service side, you will see previously they were saying 15 different IP. Now they are saying only 5. So you'll be connected to only this 5 IP address only. Now I'll refresh this. See, I'm connecting to 0.23 because that is in the list. So this type of the scaling up, scaling down, you can easily do it. You can do it from the browser side also. Like if you want to scale, I want to make it to 3 number only. Okay, so I will just click on a scale. So they will make it to 3. Okay, this 5 by 5 is going to be changed to 3 and now only 3 pods will be there. So like that way also you can do. So up to here, any confusion, anything? Okay. All of you tried to done the installation. Is the installation is completed for all of you? Okay, until now, whatever the resources we created, we want to delete all the resources. So I can simply write the command kubectl delete all hyphen all. So it will delete the deployment also, pod also, service also. See, everything got deleted. So now again, everything become clear. Okay, and even from the browser side, you will see now nothing is running. Everything got terminated. Okay, in the workload side also nothing is running. Everything is stopped. Okay. Now the entire thing, whatever the things we done, okay, using the commands like kubectl run pod name, right? And then you have to write some image name. So that are the way that by which we were creating the pod. Okay. But there are another way also to create the pod, that is by writing the YAML file. You can start a pod by using this type of the file. Okay. So for doing this, what you can do is you can create a workspace. Okay, you can create a workspace. Uh, Something like this. Okay, this is your workspace, Cloud 27. Inside this, I am creating a folder with the name called Kubernetes workspace. Okay, and inside this, I want to go. Okay, so I will open the Git bash. Okay, we have to download a Git bash software. You can directly download it in the Git. topic we said you also. Okay. So git bash, simply you will search for git bash download, you will get this. Okay, so just download this, open it, and from here just go to the location where you created this directory Kubernetes workspace. So in my case, I created it inside the D drive. Okay, so I came to this location. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to create some files here. Okay, so let me just increase the size little bit. Wait, fine. Okay, so this is the workspace we came. Okay, now if I want to create the pod or something, right? So the one way to create the pod is you can write the command kubectl run my pod, right? And then you can mention the image name and pod will be started. Another way is by writing using the YML file. Okay, so if we'll try to search in the Google, like I want to create or search for the pod YAML file, right? So you'll go to the Kubernetes official documentation. Okay, here they are guiding you about the pods creation, everything. Okay, and if you'll see here, what they are talking about is to create a pod or something, you have to write the file like this way. Okay, and in this page they are specifying something called API version, then they are specifying that we are going to create a pod, then they are saying that pod I want to give this particular name, container name I want to give this one, image name I want to give this one, port container port, something like this they are saying, right? So if you want to create a pod, you can simply write like this also, kubectl I want to run a pod with the name called my pod, and from the image called /web server 26. So like this way also you can create a pod and a pod will be created. There is no issue in this, right? Get pod. So a pod is running. You can verify it from the browser also that a pod is running, right? Inside the pod, a container got created. That container name is also my pod. But if I want to make some changes, I don't want to make the container name as my pod. That doesn't make sense, right? Because your pod name is also this one, container name is also this one. Or I want to specify some labels here. Like see, if when I created this pod, you'll see that some labels is there, run is equal to my pod. But I want to assign some other labels. I want to assign that label will be honor is equal to Kisan, right? So that type of the label I want to assign. So it will be really difficult by doing all these things by writing these commands, right? So that's why we prefer the file way. And the other bad benefit of the file way is tomorrow also somebody will see me to create the pod anything something. So all the things will be already be written in the file. Just we have to run the file. That's it. I don't have to write the command again and again. So let's delete this pod. Okay. And let's try to create it using that particular file. So they are saying you have to create a file with the name called .yaml extension. Okay. So I'm creating a file with the name called pod.yaml. Okay, something like this. And inside this, I'm going to write the content I for insert. Okay, and you can just copy the content from here to here. Okay, like this. Okay. Take an example. Port part we are not taking currently, so let's copy up to image only. Okay, and just paste it here. Now we can do the changes as per our use cases. Okay. Okay, I think we given the wrong name of the file. So let me just quit this file without saving. Okay, because we had to give pod.yml. Okay, now again let me save the content, paste it. Okay, now see the color, everything is coming well and good. Now see the first line, it will be as it is API version v1. We don't have to do any changes. Kind is equal to pod because we are going to create the pod now. Metadata. In the metadata, you have to specify all the information. Like I want to give my pod name as my pod, right? So like this way you can give it, this is the name of my pod. Okay, now inside this pod, what you are going to create, you are going to create some container inside the pod, right? I always say you that actually the container is running inside the pod, right? So in the specification you are mentioning that there should be a container. What is the name of the container? So I can give the container name anyone. You can give it my pod also. Then in that case, pod name will be same also. Container name will be exactly same. But if you want to give the container name as my C1, so like that way also you can give. Now you have to give the image name. I want to give some different image. I want to use this image. Like is a net slash web server cloud 27. Okay, so this was the image we were using. So now what is going to happen is a pod will be created. Inside that a container will be created with the name called myc1 and the image will be created with this name. Okay. And if you want to assign some labels to your pod, right? So you can simply write it here like this labels. Okay. Now, what are the labels you want to give to your pod? I want to give the labels something like this. Honor is equal to Kisan. Okay. Then you can give the team is equal to DevOps and make sure that is spacing everything. See, this owner, team, everything will be inside the labels block. Then only it will be assigned under the label section. Okay. So you can write owner is equal to Kisan, team is equal to DevOps. Uh, environment, you can write it something like this, staging, like whatever the label you want to assign, right? So like that way you can just do it. And after writing all this information, just you have to simply save this file. Okay. Now, what happened? A pod.yml file got created. You can verify it from here also. Pod.yml file got created here. Now, if I want to run this pod, right, you have to simply write kubectl. Can you apply a file, hyphen f is for file name is pod.yml. I will press enter. They will read the file and they are saying after reading the file, a pod with the name called my pod got created. Even if I'll verify kubectl get pods, so see a pod got created with the name called my pod. Okay. If I want to say little bit details about the pod, I can simply say kubectl. Can you describe the pod and pod name is my pod? So they will give us a little bit more information. They are saying that we started the container with the name called myc1. See, they did not given the exactly same name as pod. They given the name as myc1. Even you can verify it from here. A pod got created. What are the labels they given? Whatever the label I said. Environment is staging, honor is decent, team is DevOps. Now some IP address. They assigned it. They pulled the image, they started the container with the name called myc1. Whatever the name of the container I given, that only they choose it. They did not given any some random name or something like that, right? And our pod is also running. So is this making sense? What is the use case, right? Now, if some file is deleted or something, right? So you can delete the file like this way also your pod will be deleted. Okay. Now your pod got deleted. But if you want to again create, if somebody is saying you again to create a pod, right? So you don't have to worry about anything. Just you have to write the command kubectl. Can you apply this particular file pod.yml file? Because still that file is present, right? So I'll press enter. Again, a pod will be created. How fast it is, right? Because we already have all the things written in this pod.yml file. Just we have to apply it and a pod will be running with exactly same thing, labels with the same name, everything, right? Even if you want to delete this pod, so there are 2 to 3 ways. The first way you can delete it from the browser side by clicking on delete, this pod will be deleted. Okay. Another way I already shown you that you can always find that kubectl get pods. This pods is running. If you want to delete it, you will do the kubectl. I want to delete the pod. Pod name is my pod. So this will also delete the pod, right? Other way will be you can simply say kubectl. Can you delete a file? File name is pod.yml file. So whatever the resource is getting created by this particular file that you have to delete, it doesn't mean that you are deleting the pod.yml file. Its meaning is you are deleting the resource that is created by this file. I'll press enter and see they deleted the pod with the name called my pod. But that particular file is still present. They just deleted the resource what was created using this file. So is this part clear? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, if you want to do some changes in the pod.yml file, you can come here, you can do the changes. Okay, take an example. In place of environment is staging, I want that it should print something like environment is equal to production or something like this, right? So I can just edit this particular file and then again I will do kubectl. Can you apply this particular file? And this time the new pod will be created, but this time environment will be equal to production because we done the changes here. And see environment is production. Similarly, you can do any changes. You can change the name, whatever the name you want to change the container name, whatever the things you will edit it, that is going to be created here. So this is the way of creating the pod. So if I delete this, so that pod is going to be deleted. Okay, because we are directly creating the pod. But you know that if you are going to create a deployment, so even the pod will be deleted again, it is going to come back, right? So now to create the deployment using the YAML file, again, you'll be simply searching here, deployment YAML file. Click on this deployments. Here they will talk you about the deployment file. They are saying if you want to write a deployment file, you have to write this type of the script, right? So let me just copy this. So again, let's create a file with the name called deploy.yml. And inside this, I am writing this content, whatever we copied here, and then again, we'll do the changes as per our scenarios, right? So API version app/v1 only kind, we are going to create the deployment, it will be same only, okay? Metadata, that what is the name, right? So I want to give the deployment name something as my deploy, right? So whatever the name I want to give it, I can give it. Now they are saying what is the label you want to give it. So take an example, I want to give the label uh, we want to give the label something like app is equal to, or let's forget about the app, let's give the label something like this for this deployment is owner is equal to kitchen, okay, and team is equal to DevOps, something like this. So these two labels I given, okay. Now they are saying replicas, total how many number of pods you want to create. By default, whenever we are creating the deployment, they were creating only one pod, right? And we are manually doing the scaling. But when you are creating this type of the file in the starting itself, you can mention how many replicas you want to write. Take an example, somebody want to start with 2 pods. So I will just do 2 replicas. Now they are saying that okay, you are going to create 2 replicas. Okay, let's forget about this selector for now. Okay, let's forget about this selected part, will come later. Now come to this template. Anybody, like, from seeing this to this content, have you seen this content before? From here to here, have you seen this content just before in the previous example? Yes or no? From metadata to the sports or image basically. Yes or no? When I was creating the pod in that particular file, this was the content. Yes or no? What happened? Just now I shown you, right? This is the exactly same content here now. Pod.yml file. This was the content, right? From metadata to this image, and exactly same thing I'm just copying here, right? So why this content is there? Because this deployment duty is to create the pod, right? So definitely whatever the things you are requiring to pod, that part will be also be there, right? So let's just edit that part. So whatever the label you want to assign to your pod. So take an example, I want to assign to my pod with the label called app is equal to web or web server, something like this. Spec, I want to create a container. What is the name of the container you want to give inside the pod? I want to give something my C1, my container one. Image, whatever the image you want to create. So I'm just writing the image name here. It is exactly same thing that we done in the previous example. Now port, if you want to add it, you can add it, because we know that our website is running on the port 80, right? So we are just mentioning their port and our website is running on the port 80. That's why this is the thing. Okay. So up to here it is clear. Okay. Now the thing is we forgot about this part, right? What is this? So if you remember, whenever we are creating the deployment, it was creating the deployment, it was creating the pod, and it was creating one more term that is a replica set. Okay. And replica set was the one who is managing that whether the 2 pods are running or not, whether the 5 pods are running or not, right? So how they will make sure that there are 2 pods running? How they will make sure there are 5 pods are running? Because in the deployment we said that you have to make sure 2 pods are running, right? So how this replica set will make sure that at any point of the time 2 pods are running? If as soon as one pod will be deleted, I have to run one more pod. Okay. So for that, what they will do is they are saying that you assigned a label. Okay, you assigned a label to your pod that is app is equal to web server. So now the question is, if there are two pods running, so how many pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? If there are two pods running, so how many total pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? Anybody? Have you got the question? If this entire code is running two times, that means two pods are running. So total how many pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? That's a normal question. What happened to all of you? Just give some wrong answer also. I will not feel anything for that. But just give some answer now. Just a normal thing. If there are two pods running with the exactly same syntax, so how many total pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? Okay, how it can be one? If there are two pods running with the label called app is equal to web server, so if somebody is just reversing the question, right, that how many pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? So is that answer will be different? Even if you will just read the syntax now what I was telling, I was saying you that simply that there are two times I written this entire syntax, right? That means two pods is going to run. So how many pods will be there with the label called app is equal to web server? Because both the pods are running, so both will have the exactly same labels, right? So we can easily find it. So that's what this selector is doing. They will make sure that they are able to find the label called app is equal to web server or not. Okay. So if you are giving here the label called honor is equal to Kishore, that also you can just match it here. It is not like you have to write app only or something like that. Whatever the label you are assigning here, that you have to write it here. Then only they can match that at any point of the time is there two pods are running or not. If there two replicas are running, that means both the pods are running. If one pod got deleted, so this number will be two, right? But actually, how many labels are there? Only one. So what they will make sure, they will make sure one more time this particular pod is going to be created. So that's where they maintain everything. So simply just save this file and say kubectl. Can you apply -f deploy.yml? Press enter. So a deployment is going to be created. If I'll do kubectl get deploy. So see a deployment got created with the two replicas. Okay. And what this they done actually, they created pods with two replicas. Okay. And if I'll say kubectl have you created the replica set? So yes, they created the replica set also. It was desired is two because total number of replicas we made it two. And you can see the entire thing from here also. They created a deployment with the label called honor is equal to Kisan. But in the pod, I said that you have to create a label called app is equal to web server. So now there are two pods running with the label called app is equal to web server. And this replica set is making sure that they are finding the label app is equal to web server. Currently, they found that there are two pods running with the label called app is equal to web server. That's why desired and running both are same. But as soon as anybody is deleting one pod, so now only one pod will be remaining with the label called app is equal to web server. So now see, only one is there, right? One is in running, one is pending. But as soon as one, this will be also running, it will be updated here. So that's why they are matching. They will always match for this particular labels. Why? Because in the selector, we said that you have to always match for the app is equal to web server. That's where they are finding it. So hope this is clear to you how it is doing. Okay. So just try to practice up to here. Tomorrow there will be one more class. Then we'll be completing the Kubernetes on the local setup. Okay, and then I will take one more class of the Kubernetes in which I will trying to set up the entire Kubernetes cluster directly on the AWS cloud. Okay, so that will be the second part. So that's the thing. So just practice up to here. Tomorrow most probably we'll complete all the commands related thing, and if we'll get the time, tomorrow only we'll start with the setup with the cloud also. Okay. So just try to practice up to here and try to complete it. And once your entire practical is done, like I created the deployment. If you want to delete it, you can delete it like this way also. kubectl, I want to delete file. What is the file I created with the name called deploy.yml? And not from here. You have to do it from the git bash, right? Because we created from here, right? So this was a deploy.yml file. So you can simply say kubectl can you delete the resource created from the deploy.yml, and they will delete all the pods, they will delete the replica set, everything will be deleted, right? So see, this replica set got deleted, pod got deleted, deployment got deleted. So like this way you can do it. So just try to practice up to here, okay? And if any doubt, anything is coming, you can just ask. And yesterday somebody was facing some issues, right, during installation and everything. So that is done now. All of you done the minikube installation, or still somebody have to do it? Have you completed with minikube that installation part, or still to do? Okay, completed. Okay, then just practice it. Okay. Thanks all of you. Have a nice day.